All right, folks, welcome back to the show. This is HMW Sports Talk Live, last segment of the show. Man, we've been going hard today, man. We got a topic with a little legs, and we've been riding it. Definitely, man, we just got to go back and hit up on, of course, with March Madness going on, the regional finals, the Elite Eight is underway. And, of course, we know that Florida and Dayton are taking care of business right now. And later on tonight, we got Arizona and Wisconsin. Tomorrow, Michigan State and Connecticut. And, man, those kids from Kentucky, John Calipari just keeps finding a way to bring this one-year talent in.
Right.
And he manages it over a season. They're ranked high at the beginning of the season. They struggle. They go through some growing pains. But talent is talent. When you're talking about basketball, ballers ball.
Right.
And they just make a difference when you get that elite talent on the floor. And Calipari is able to just put elite talent on the floor and put NBA-type guys on the floor year after year, man.
Match of the tournament, Kentucky versus Wichita State. To be able to pull that game out was yeah.
That Wichita State was hot as any team playing
exactly.
and playing
Undefeated.
together as well as any team. I'll tell you the team that kind of disappointed me. Well, they didn't disappoint me because they played so well in the tournament, but it just disappointed me that because I was really pulling. I just liked that Tennessee team, and we had talked about it here on the show with Fred. It was like, man, you know, with Tennessee's two guys inside. With those wide-body 6'9" guys inside, that if they were to get that some consistent guard play, they could really go somewhere. Then they come out, you know, and get great guard play last game, you know, and with that 3-guard offense, and you know, big guys handling the ball, 6'6" guys, and then they don't get the offensive output from the big guys down low and end up out of the tournament. But definitely, NBA know with the Rockets with Patrick Beverley, torn meniscus. An MRI exam Friday revealed that Patrick Beverley has a torn meniscus in his right knee. Coach Kevin McHale says he's out indefinitely. Beverley suffered that injury in the Rockets' victory over those damn 76ers. Sorry ass.
Somewhere in OKC.
What was that all about?
Somewhere in OKC.
Oh, you thought about that too? I know, yeah. Yeah. What goes around comes around. Ain't it? But yeah, anyway, the Rockets. So the Rockets taking on LA tonight, taking on the Clippers. The Rockets need to get that one win over the Clippers. Just, you know, just to say, hey man, look, it ain't, you know, you don't just come in here and beat me up for an entire season. So we'll be keeping an eye on things with the Rockets. We'll see how things develop with Patrick Beverley. At minimum, you know, they may miss some playoff games with Patrick Beverley. At worst, he could be done for the season very, very easily there. Let's go back to this Deshaun Jackson situation, and we've been on this topic, and we talked about when we left you guys. We were talking about some of the cultural differences and why some things are perceived in the wrong manner. And I'm going to use my cell phone example here. Hey, drop my notes. I'm going to use my cell phone example, and because I don't want to incriminate anybody else, but some of y'all go follow me. If you grow up in an environment where I was fortunate, I had the best of both worlds. I grew up in a family that owned businesses, that a lot of highly educated folks. You folks have heard me talk about my sister I'm so proud of, who's a Princeton graduate. You know, my mom was a Southwestern Bell girl for 36 years. I have a brother that works for Southwestern Bell, brother who's a collegiate athlete, Texas Tech University. I got my start doing professional theater at age 16. I mean, I come from a family of hardworking Christian folks. I don't know what it is to have a light off until I got to be an adult. Yeah, I was living on Section 8. No, but until I got to be an adult and was doing my own thing. But growing up as a kid, I didn't experience lights off and none of that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? But my family never moved out of the hood. Pretty much could have lived anywhere. We never moved out of the hood, you know? So that's why when I say I had the best of both worlds, maybe I fooled you a little bit. Man, I grew up with some cats that if I never see again, it's too soon, you know? And I grew up with some cats that I also loved, that some people, if they never saw them again, would be too soon for them.
Right.
But for me, I love them. They my brothers. They don't scare me.
Right.
You know, they my people. But we do different things.
Right.
You know what I mean? You know, we pray at different altars. You know what I'm saying? So if my boss, who's probably not the best example, because he's probably about the most liberal, conservative, angry white man you ever meet in your life. Did that make sense? I said my boss is the most liberal, conservative, angry white male from the Midwest you ever meet in your life. Because he's clearly an angry white male from the Midwest who has a lot of black friends. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But let's say my boss wasn't at all liberal in his dealings, in his sensitivity and tolerance for all types of people. And let's just say he was only an angry white male from the Midwest, and he came to Houston and he visited me, and we drove to the old neighborhood. And I pulled up with my boss in the truck, and I greeted some of the cats that I'm speaking of now. My boss would probably be a little uncomfortable.
Right.
And he would probably like maybe take a second look. You know what I mean? You grew up with those guys, you know what I mean? And I guess if you don't, man, I don't know if I'm doing a great job of explaining this, but I guess if you just don't grow up around a certain element, you don't have an appreciation for the fact that when I say you grew up around gang culture, doesn't mean you were in a gang. You go to the corner store.
Right.
You may see some gang members that you've been knowing for 20 years.
Right.
Give them some dab. What's up, baby? How you doing?
Right.
Stay out of trouble, man. I love you. But if you just see me out in public and I see one of those guys and you an observer and don't know what you're looking at, and you see me hug this cat with all this red on and giving some dab and maybe giving some fancy handshake that you don't recognize, you maybe you think I have some association with gang culture.
And that's why I think it's a little bit irresponsible, because in my opinion, I'm hearing some dialogue that's equating knowing them and being them as the same. And that's why I think it's a little bit, that's why I feel bad for whatever might be untrue in this Deshaun Jackson story. Yeah. That's where I feel bad that all that will get lost in translation.
No, you're right.
And people just can't relate to that, and they won't understand. And I mean, you know, you're talking about your experience, and I mean, but like I'll just speak for me, and say like I have people in my family that would make people uncomfortable if you greet them, and I think there's an element that everybody has, that those characters in their family.
Yeah, but you love them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you love them. You're not afraid of them.
Exactly, and you know what to do. You know how to approach them. You know, but at the end of the day, even though you're family, you have the same blood, you have the same connection, you're still your own people. Yeah. You can still make your own choices.
But guess what with your family? You also know I don't do money with you, Uncle Pete.
Right.
Me and you we don't kiss, Uncle Pete. We don't, when I say we don't kiss, that's my thing about money. I say we don't kiss. If you ask me for money and you somebody I don't do money with, we don't kiss. That's my little deal. I don't want you to think me and my Uncle Pete used to kiss. Me and Uncle Pete ain't like that. He's a crackhead. He got bad teeth. I ain't kissing no ugly crackhead. All right. But that's my thing. We don't kiss. We don't do money. So if you're smart enough not to do money with Uncle Pete, if you're a professional athlete, you have to be smart enough to know when to say, man, can't. You know what I mean? I have buddies, when I was doing my thing in the music business, that we would go out of town for weekends and hang. And I was notoriously known for searching my friends like a damn cop. Because you can't get in my car, because I ain't going to jail for no damn rock, and I don't even sell crack.
Right. No,
I mean, you can't ride with me. Yeah, I mean, but that was my car. You ain't ride with me like that. So, hey, look, I hope that we kind of shed any type of light on the situation. At Craig Shelton HNW on Twitter. Search Craig Shelton on Facebook. You want to talk about it or reach out to me. You got any comments on it, holler at me. You can email me at HoustonMediaWatch.com. Go check out the website, HoustonMediaWatch.com. I want to say R.I.P. to Pop. I loved you to death, man. We buried my great uncle who raised me. He was my dad. 101 years old. We buried him today, did the funeral before we got here. We had the worst freaking preacher at a funeral in the history of funerals. He was horrible, but I hope God loves that man anyway. But I don't know what the hell he was talking about. And he kept talking about the end zone and something about running touchdowns for the Lord. I don't know. I'm about to spike for the Lord. Bam! We'll see y'all next week.